Hello, good night, ladies and gentlemen. We're back again another wonderful Tuesday night. And this is Keith, the entrepreneur. And tonight, looking for an awesome show. We have a lovely guest tonight that's going to be sharing with us some great information. So, tonight, we're going to have an awesome time. And again, this is Christian and Sex. And pretty much we have been doing this for a while, and you've been a great audience. You guys have some of you guys have come back a couple of times, and of course, this is an us show where we get to relax and we can just have a dialogue about different issues, and you matter. And so it's a place where we can feel comfortable in sharing and don't feel judged or feel ashamed, but it's a place where we can actually connect and look at the world from different viewpoints, standpoints. We all have our past and we all have our present and looking forward to our future. But here we are on this moment in time talking about issues that we face, and this show is really designed for that. Tonight we have a great show, and the title of this show tonight is I think it's off the cuff. I think it's interesting. Something you hear about much, but the title is Should Husbands Have a Say in a Woman's Choice for Sterilization? I'm going to say it again. Should husbands have a say in a woman's choice for sterilization? And we have our co host who is looking to be on very soon. A lady, her name is Lady Misty, and she has been a great co host. But tonight we have, we call another amazing lady. And she's a coach, and she's worked in I'll call it, it's a very important sector, and it's the sexual and reproductive health. And she has a lot of knowledge, a lot of insights firsthand on women's health and family issues and family health. So we're here to have her introduce to us herself, and she's also going to read for us some stats, some I would say mind blowing stats. So again, welcome here again on Tuesday night on Christian and Sex.
Hi, I'm Coach Raquel. You introduced me.
Yes,
Are you able to hear me?
I can hear you loud and
Hello?
clear.
Oh, you can.
Yes,
Okay, so you're ready for me to share the data?
yes, ma'am. You can go right ahead.
Okay. Okay, great. So I'm going to be sharing two things tonight. I'm going to be giving you some statistics on sterilization in the US. And then I'm going to share with you what is really offsetting this conversation tonight. A story that was featured on insider.com. A woman who needed um, her husband's consent to get her tubes tied, or otherwise known as sterilization. So I'm going to share the story first, and then I will share the data. Share what the data says. Is that okay?
Yes, I think that
Is
would be
that
great.
okay?
I think
Okay,
our audience
great.
would love that.
Okay, great. So, from the insider, a woman was told she needed her husband's permission to get her tubes tied. Her story went viral, but it's not uncommon. A Twitter user went viral on Monday, and this story was on February 25, 2020 at 2:12 p.m. So on the Monday, which was within that week, when she reported that her OBGYN wouldn't let her get a tubal ligation without her husband's signature. Now, tubal ligation is a word that also is used for sterilization. So at Holly Resists wrote on Twitter that she asked her doctor if that was a law, and the OBGYN reportedly said it wasn't, but that this was their policy. Replies flooded it. One response was dangerous policy to have that opposes informed consent and patient autonomy, wrote OBGYN Leah Torres in response to the original post. Another user wrote that all the doctors she saw in Indiana had a policy of making a woman's father sign for consent if the woman was unmarried. One user recalled that 30 years ago, a friend of hers had been forcibly sterilized while sedated after a C section on the request of her husband, but without her knowledge. Imagine that, right?
Mm. Wow.
Vasectomies, one of the only options for male contraception, have never required spousal consent. In fact, actor Dax Shepard made headlines when he got a vasectomy without telling his wife, Kristen Bell. States started to drop the need for husband's approval in the 70s, but the Supreme Court never issued a judgment on the matter. Tubal ligation is a surgical procedure that is over 99% effective at preventing pregnancy, according to the Mayo Clinic. It's a form of permanent birth control that cuts the fallopian tubes. Most procedures can't be reversed. The process doesn't affect a menstrual cycle, and it doesn't prevent transmission of STDs or STIs, though there is some evidence that it may decrease the risk of ovarian cancer. According to federal government policy, women do not need their spouse's consent to have their tubes tied, though that was a requirement decades ago. In 1974, states like Georgia, North Carolina, and Virginia required spousal consent for procedures, but by the end of the 1970s, the requirement had been challenged by a handful of court cases, and federal courts ruled state spousal consent laws unconstitutional, though the Supreme Court has never issued a judgment on the matter, so it isn't completely resolved. Today, some private hospitals and providers still have these policies and won't perform the operation without the consent of both spouses. Um, Women have been denied the procedure for a multitude of reasons: for being too young, unmarried, or having only one child. In 2012, a woman named Monica Trumley wrote for Slate about having to fight to get the procedure at age 26. Gosh, that's
26.
early. I
Mm.
know, right? And here's a quote: "The paternalistic treatment of doctors telling me they were going to talk me out of it still ticks me off," she wrote.
Wow.
In 2014, the Chicago Tribune reported on Lori Witt's quest to get her tubes tied. She was told she was too young and might change her mind about having children. A woman named Erin Thompson told Vice in 2019, like just last year, that
That's
it
what's
took
last
her
year.
2 years to get her tubes tied. To qualify, she needed to get cleared by a gynecologist and write a 2-page paper defending her choices. Oh my gosh. It took her husband a week to get a vasectomy.
Mm.
This issue was prevalent enough that the ethics committee of the American Congress of Obstetricians and Gynecologists was forced to release an advisory in 2017. I mean, it's just the other day, telling
Mm.
their doctors not to condescend to female patients wanting their tubes tied. And here's another quote: "A request for sterilization in a young woman without children should not automatically trigger a mental health consultation," they wrote. "Although physicians understandably wish to avoid precipitating sterilization regret in women, they should avoid paternalism." Insurance coverage on the procedure varies from state to state. The procedure can range from $1,500 to $6,000, according to the Henry J. Kaiser Family Foundation. When the Affordable Care Act was passed, it included a requirement all private health insurance plans cover at least one of 18 FDA approved contraceptive methods for women. That meant that meant female sterilization. Did I say fertilization?
You
That's
sure
so
did.
funny. That meant female sterilization must be fully covered for women with private insurance. But for women on Medicaid, there are more restrictions in place. Federal funds cannot be used to sterilize women younger than 21. Under Medicaid regulations, women who want sterilization must sign a consent form and wait 30 days before the procedure if they are on Medicaid, compared to privately insured women with no wait period. Federal laws allow providers to refuse sterilization services to patients due to religious objections. According to the Guttmacher Institute, 18 states allow some of their healthcare providers to refuse sterilization services to patients. The Catholic Church prohibits sterilization, and as many as 1 in 6 hospitals in America are Catholic Church affiliated. That's alarming to me. Let's now look at. Oh, I see that Lady Misty is here. Lady Misty, go ahead and call in so I can accept it before I go to the data, because the data is so alarming to me.
Yes, it
You can
is.
go
Yes,
ahead
it
and call
is.
in so we can get you in now. Wow, that was that was something. That was something.
Amazing, amazing. So,
Yes.
folks,
Now let
if
me.
you've been watching,
Sorry, go ahead.
if you have been following a Christian in sex, is Lady Misty on it yet?
Yes, she is.
Hi, good night.
Lady Misty, welcome
Hi.
again. Yes.
Hi.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm
always
just going
ask the
to
question.
complete. Go ahead.
I always ask the
Good
question
Go
night,
what
ahead,
comes
folks.
Keith, and
How
then
across
are
I'll
you
just
you?
wrap
today.
up with this. Should I continue?
Yes, you
We're
should. I
silent, or
think
is it I'm not hearing? Hello?
Oh,
I
yes,
should
go
there's a
continue?
bit of a
ahead.
gap here, but there's a little delay going on.
Okay.
Yeah,
But
go
today
ahead.
it's going to be okay.
So I'm just gonna continue with my stats and then so I can get out of here. So I can hear you guys really chop this up like you usually do. Okay. So
All
in
right.
2015 to 2017, approximately 60% of women aged 15 to 49 were using some type of contraceptive method, while 35% were not currently using a method. Um, Female sterilization increased. Sorry, current use of any method of contraception was higher among older women and non-Hispanic white women compared with younger women and non-Hispanic black women. The most commonly used methods were female sterilization 18.6%, pill 12.6%, LARCs 10.3%, and male condom 8.7%. Use of these methods varied across age, Hispanic origin, and race and education. Sterilization was the highest, as you
Mm,
heard.
mm-hmm.
Female sterilization increased with increasing age. About 1 in 20, this one shocked me. About 1 in 20 women aged
One in
20 to
20.
29, that's 4.2%. 1 in 5 women aged 30 to 39, 21.6%, another shocker for me. And nearly 2 in 5 women aged 40 to 49, 39.4%, were relying on female sterilization for contraception. Female sterilization declined with higher education. For example, 32.1% of women with a high school diploma or general equivalency diploma, that's a GED, were using female sterilization for contraceptive reasons, compared with 11.3% of women with a bachelor's degree or higher.
Hmm.
If I may
Mm,
say
that's
before I get
interesting.
off the call, get off and leave you guys, this is alarming to me, and it makes me want to ask myself, Why is it more undereducated women are doing this? It
Good
it it,
That's a
it
question.
good
really,
question.
yeah, yeah. So I'm going to. Is that all you want from me tonight? That's
No,
all the
actually,
data.
I want you
But
to stay on as long as you can because I think I need
Oh,
some
you
more
like?
from you.
Okay.
Yeah, so hang right there. Like I said earlier, that you did work in the sexual and
I did work in the Sexual Health Authority in
yes,
Jamaica for the
and
Ministry of Health.
and I
Yes.
think we'd like to hear more from you. So hang on in there. So,
Yeah.
Lady Misty, we're happy again that we are back together in this amazing show, Christians and Sex.
yes,
And Misty, I always ask this question: how was your day? I like to hear when you say how your day was. There's something about that works. I love it.
it was a wet day. It has been raining all weekend,
Mm-hmm.
so it has been a wet day.
A wet day. It
But
sounds exciting.
God is good, so
Uh huh. I hear you. Okay. Well,
I
thank you for
am
that.
inside and I'm not wet, I'm dry, so
There you go.
I'm happy for that.
We are warm and dry on the inside. So if you're
That's
feeling wet,
right.
I'm sorry. But guys, if you have been watching the Christian and Sex show episodes, you'll find that we're data driven. It's data driven because it's not just talk. It's look at real numbers because numbers really are significant in how we know whether something is decreasing or increasing, and what we can do about it
That's
and how
right.
we can even approach it, and so forth. But tonight, folks, I want to again thank you for coming on. And I know that you may have some questions, so we look forward to those questions and those inputs that you may have. Like I said, this is a show where we all have a voice. Um, so before you go, Mrs. Raquel, I want to ask you a question here. So, having worked in that sexual and reproductive uh, sector, if I put it that
Health
way,
agency. Mm-hmm.
what did you notice about the, I would say, the approach to birth control, or what was your most
My
interesting take on
experience.
those things?
Okay. Well, let me just give some context. I worked. I was the communications manager, which means that I was managing all the communication on sex and reproductive health, which gave me a lot of access to the interaction of individuals or uptakers, as we'd call them, to family planning. And I've also worked not just with Jamaican audience, but I've worked with the UN agencies, UNESCO, UNFPA. UNFPA is the organization that deals with population. Um, and I've also been a participant on the Phenomenal Girl Symposium that is held in New York every year and became a legislative resolution in New York in 2019. Correct, Keith? We were there together. You and
Yes,
me, radio
correct,
was there. Right.
correct.
So I've been very close to the information. And I'm alarmed at the ages of the persons who are now uptaking sterilization between 20 to 39. I don't recall seeing those figures before.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
and then what alarms me as well is I'm seeing where undereducated persons are doing it based on the data that I just shared. That is also alarming. I remember working in the field, and one of the where we had to do a lot of work was education. I
Hmm.
remember there was this news story that went viral once in Jamaica where one woman, she said she refused she had quite a number of children. I think it was 9 children, I don't remember, but she was living in the inner city. And I remember she was saying she refused to take the contraceptive because it would bung her up. That's what she would said. By that she
Mm.
meant I think there was a fear
Mm,
that she felt that I don't know if Lady Misty was aware of it when it happened, but it became a big thing, and we had to have intervention and so on. Where she was thinking, if I took the
Yes,
Medicaid, the contraception, yeah, then it would. I guess she's
mhm,
thinking it would prevent her from. I'm not even quite sure exactly what it would prevent her from, because but she felt it wouldn't have been healthy for her. So what we realized was, and it's not just in Jamaica, but it's also in the US. As you can see, a lot of people are not as educated on the methods. At least that was my experience, and so a lot of work had to be done in properly and effectively educating women on their choices, the ups and the downs of those choices, the advantages, the disadvantages.
mhm,
And also there was a we had to do a lot of campaigns on empowering women, empowering women to be able to speak up for themselves, because a lot of women were afraid of saying, of either using or not using contraception, because they would have been afraid of how their male partner would respond, whether he was going to remain in the relationship or leave,
mhm,
because in a lot of cases the males were the economic generators. And so, and in some cases he was a head of the household, so there was a fear as to, so for some women they didn't even know how to talk about it. How do I bring this up to him? How do I ask him to use a condom, or how do I do this? So there were some women who would hide and do it because they didn't want any more children, but they felt like they also could not have that dialogue with their partner to explain that, and to represent themselves, because they weren't as empowered to do so. And as you can see in the data, um, there it is happening. It's not just it's something impacting the Western world, right? So even as we listened to the insider story, where they were saying that she contacted her OBGYN, and her OBGYN is going to say to her, you can't, we have to speak with your husband. And in cases where the fathers get involved, you heard just the other day where Ti says that he visits the OBGYN with his daughter once per year
Yeah,
to make
yeah,
sure
that
her
was
hymen was
interesting.
intact.
yes, I heard that. Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So the data speaks for itself. There is a culture, I believe, and this is just my personal opinion, there's a culture of women feeling unempowered. And though it doesn't mean I don't understand the fact that, and I think this is what I want to say to close, so you guys can take over. Um, Family planning is that. Family planning, it should be that people are in a space with family where they are empowered and they can have conversations. I think the training, the conversation, the education, the campaigns for family planning, I think there should be more campaigns or more push to empower families, and to train, not to train, but to teach families and to empower families to have effective communication at all levels, for economics, for decisions about the children, and contraception, as
True.
opposed to just empowering the women, because the men need to be empowered as well. I think sometimes it was my experience. I remember there was one time when one father bought his daughter a dildo, and when we met up with him and we engaged him in a conversation, he said, she's going to have sex and I just didn't know what to do.
Mm,
And he lives with me. I didn't know what to
Wow.
do. So I decided, if you must have sex, then here's a dildo, because I don't want her to, he didn't want her to get pregnant or get an STI or stuff like that. So
mm-hmm.
the conversation needs to be, it needs to become a part of education and empowerment at
Yes.
all levels.
Mm.
And that's what the Phenomenal Girl Symposium is about. Credit to Veneta Van Horn, who is the creator for that. She's a phenomenal woman. She's in New
Yes, she
York,
is.
and I
Yes, she
know
is.
they're gearing up for. I don't know if is it the sixth has already passed. And it's happening. It's either, I think it has either already happened or it's about to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually held with SUNY downstate. It's a really, really great program because what they do is they go through and have
Okay.
these conversations to empower young girls to become aware. But I think it should be across the board because that program is for girls. But what we need to do is expand that and also educate men, empower them so they understand what family planning is about and contraception and how it impacts the woman's body, how it impacts the family, and all of that. So that was my experience, and that is what I would like to share on that. But
Well, well,
it
well,
is
well.
definitely something for everyone to get into the habit of speaking about.
Yes. Well. I really think
Yeah.
you could have gone on and on and on because this is good stuff. But I think Misty, Lady Misty, had
Yeah.
brought to my attention that it was one of her listeners who kind of inspired this conversation here. Go figure, right? So the idea was that you think about
Yeah.
a family and a woman saying, "Should I be able to tie my tubes, so to speak, or go to sterilization without letting my partner know, my spouse know?" Correct, Misty? Misty, is
Yes.
that correct?
But
Hmm.
I was reading. Yes, yeah, that's correct. I was reading through the data and just listening to Coach Raquel a while ago,
Hmm.
and a couple of things have been going through my mind because I heard Coach saying that it was pretty alarming about the age group that fits in the
Hmm.
gap of wanting to tie their tubes or
Hmm.
being sterilized as opposed to older women wanting to do that. So it's usually in the gap of younger people, right? That's early
Yeah.
20s to mid 30s, around that age. And I found it interesting
Right. They
because
were
at
having
one
it.
point
Yeah.
in right, at one point in society, it was that same age group that they're saying having a lot of children. They were
Hmm.
more prone to getting pregnant.
Teenage pregnancy and
So
stuff. Yeah.
from teens, yeah, from teens right up to about 30, let's go to talk about 30, would be in that area saying, they're having too many children, and the discussion came out in a bold way about unprotected sex and all of that. So I was just here, just going over the numbers in my mind, and I'm here wondering, what's the real purpose of getting my tubes tied at that young age? Is it lack of education? Is it that, okay, I just want to enjoy sex, I don't want any children without the risk? Um,
Hmm.
these women, are they mostly single women as opposed to married women wanting to do this?
Hmm. Okay.
So it's a lot of things. In a relationship,
Hmm.
if a woman wants to get her tubes tied, uh, what's the argument from the man?
So in other words,
I do.
she
I
should let
want
the
more
man know.
children. I don't want more children,
Hmm.
or I just let me know what you're doing.
Wow. Lady
And
Misty.
why is it an issue for the man? I just there's a lot of questions, popping
Yeah.
up here and there as I read through the articles, and I looked at the data. So it's a lot,
So,
you
Lady
know.
Misty, question.
When I saw the
Question.
question first, go ahead.
Question. If a woman ties a tube, without letting how her spouse
hmm
knows, in this case, it's a married couple.
hmm
Should should he
Right.
get a divorce? Is that ground for a divorce because maybe he wanted
Ah,
kids?
wow. Yeah, and I was just about to say it depends on the discussion that they had relating to children. Is it that I want more children and you don't want children. Probably she's a career driven woman, you know.
Because yeah, some men are very
What was the
adamant in
discussion
wanting
before?
kids. Yeah, a lot of men say I want 5 kids, or they want, and they're
Right. So
desperate on that. They want
what
four
was the
kids, and they.
atmosphere like before?
Mhm.
Right. Was there an agreement? What was the atmosphere like before surrounding having children? And uh is the woman saying, well, it's my body and I don't want to go through this another time, as opposed to, okay, let me do this to please you. It's, you know, what was it the discussion with children before? If
Would you like me to
if
share
it is
on the? Oh, sorry. Go
if I
ahead.
s- go ahead, go ahead, Cole, go ahead.
Yes,
Oh, I was going to
before you
share the
share,
feedback that. Go
before
ahead.
you, before you share, let me thank Andre. I see Andre. I see. I see Andre. I see Laverne. I see. I see Suki. Thank you for joining us. We definitely welcome you guys to participate if you desire to do so. You definitely call in with your with a question if you have one, or that kind of thing. So at this show here, we just one family. So go ahead, Coach Raquel.
Okay, because what I was going to share was the post that triggered the conversation, in addition to, of course,
Mm-hmm.
the insider
Mm-hmm.
article.
Yeah.
So the post that you were
Right.
referring to, Keith, on Facebook, it was by Suki. Is she on? Did you just say she was
Oh,
there?
it's okay.
I hope she is there. That would be nice. Because I
Uh-huh.
would also be interested in finding out what prompted her to put that out, because she did it on March 3, but then it was covered on February 20. So in the question she asked
Right.
was, another topic for discussion: can a wife tie her tubes without telling her husband? Is this grounds for divorce?
Hmm.
So let me read the comments.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a number of 124 comments. I think it's interesting to hear what the responses were. One person said, "Can a
Mm-hmm.
man snip his junk without telling his wife? Her
Oh,
body, not his, and vice versa."
Mm.
wow.
Interesting. Um,
Right.
Another person
Mm-hmm.
says, where scripture is concerned and certain laws of countries, that's not necessarily so, and neither should we promote this narrative and mindset. And then the reply for the person before, everyone can have their own opinion. And then another person said, she shouldn't, she shouldn't. I'm not sure if it's legally grounds for divorce, but it will cause problems.
Hmm.
I would like to say it is a
Mm-hmm.
no. Another person says, oh, this is a male person. And Andrew says, I would like to say it is a no, no, and would be grounds for divorce.
Okay.
And Romain, interestingly, the ones I was reading before, they were females, right? Romain
Mm-hmm.
says, I think it is. So the person who posted the picture, Suki, asked why. He said, I think that's lying by omission about a life changing event. Couldn't trust that person after that. And I'm going to read one more, and then you guys can continue if you want, or I can continue with the feedback. Aaron said, that is
Good. Mm-hmm.
wrong. Yeah, that is wrong, since neither the husband or the wife own their bodies anymore. They belong to each other. It is mutual love and submission. For example,
Mm.
if a husband wants to get a vasectomy, he would need his wife's consent. It is not being controlling, but simply wise. It is not grounds for divorce. However, she can do irreparable damage on the marriage, which can lead to divorce, not saying it is right to leave. Before I continue, what if,
Okay.
right? I understand the
Mm-hmm.
perspectives. What if a woman has, because sterilization is also a risky surgery, it's a surgery. And all
Mm-hmm.
surgeries come with risks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I believe to hide and do it, I believe is could be devastating because anything can happen on the surgical table.
Mm-hmm.
I know this man, can you imagine a man finding out his wife is in the hospital in critical condition that he didn't know about because she was doing sterilization or something?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it would be just devastating. But I also think it is devastating that she had to. What was
Right.
going through her mind that she felt I could not have this conversation with my husband? That's I think that's equally devastating that she felt she couldn't have the conversation,
Right.
you know? So Tracy, you guys want to say anything else before I continue?
I just want to say that's why I said before, it really depends on the conversations around children in the initial stages. Because
Mm-hmm.
for it to lead to that,
Mm,
I don't think it's just up in the air like that. I think there was a conversation or an agreement before a disagreement before where kids are concerned. And the fact that
right,
I, as a wife, found it difficult to speak to my partner about doing this procedure means that something was wrong before or there was a disagreement and we didn't leave the conversation on the same page
right,
because that has to be something to be discussed. So the fact that I had to go behind your back, so to speak, to do this means that we were not on the same page before. Is it grounds for divorce? As that person that commented said, I don't think the
Hebron.
actual thing would lead to divorce. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's the spin-offs from it.
Right.
I can't
Yeah.
trust you because you did that behind my back, or you knew I wanted children and you did that behind my back. And it's vice versa for the man too if he goes ahead with that procedure, because probably
Right.
the woman has been wanting to have children and there's nothing happening. But probably he
Mm-hmm.
just wants to enjoy sex. He just wants to enjoy his wife without the responsibilities of having a child.
Right. Because sterilization is 99% permanent.
Exactly. So probably the man is thinking that too. I don't really want to mess up this kind of relationship that we're having now. Or
Mm-hmm.
they've had enough children. So, that's what I'm saying. It depends what's going through your mind as that spouse. What was the conversation you had? Nobody just walks into a hospital to say, hey,
A whole
I want to do
surgery.
this.
A
Right, a
whole
whole
surgery. This is
so
not just
a
a
whole
pill.
surgery.
This
I
is a
know.
whole surgery.
There's a no. There's a friend of mine right now. She got her tubes tied. Um, she had her first child. Well, she had two children before she got married, right? And she got married, and they had one, and in like quick succession, she found out she was pregnant again. Uh, the fourth child wasn't really planned for, so she just found
Okay.
out she was pregnant. And when she was at the hospital, she said to the doctor, tie my tubes, please. I don't want to get pregnant again.
Oh boy.
Because I know my husband likes sex. So she didn't call her husband at that time. She was there to have the baby,
Hmm.
and she just got it
And
done
it's
the
not that
same
she was being
time.
deceptive either. It's just like she's thinking of it now and okay, I understand.
Yeah, she was
But
saying,
the
I've
question
got
I'm
four children
sorry.
and we really can't afford it. So
Wow.
when she got home and she told her husband, and he was like, well, that's a good decision because so he didn't have a problem with it,
I
even though
guess
she didn't
in that
call
case,
him to say
perhaps, yeah. But she knew her husband. It sounds like I know my husband. This is a
that's
decision
it.
I can make.
Okay.
That's it. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
it
It
sounds
has to start
because
with a
there's also knowledge.
conversation.
Yeah, yeah. Somebody's calling in, so let's just accept that call. Zion, Zion.
Okay.
I'm trying to accept you, Zion. There we go. Are you here? Did it come through? Please call back. I
Not there
tried.
yet.
Hi, Zion. Call back, please. Call right back. Okay, there you go. Hold on. There we go. Hi, Zion. How are you?
Hello,
Zion.
good evening. How are you guys? How are
Zion.
you doing? How are
Fantastic.
you?
Hi, good
Good evening.
evening.
We're wonderful.
Wow, that's good. I was like, I just had come by here and I was like, okay, let's check this out. Christians and sex. It's like, all right, let's read our Bibles. You know what I'm saying? Let's turn to Scripture. Let's get straight
Yes.
up. It's like, I'm like, son of a, Let's talk. Go ahead.
So tonight we're talking about should a woman have does a woman have the right to um, obtaining sterilization, female sterilization, without telling her husband or without getting his approval?
Without getting, like, they were married for better for worse, right?
Yeah, yes.
All
Yes.
right. So that means they need to be open and talk. It's like, hon, here's the deal. I can't do this, man. You gotta sterilize this thing. And he'd be like, well, why are you doing that for? I'm like, well, because da, 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 da. And she tells him the reason why. And then,
Yeah,
should they agree on it? Should they talk about it? Seek some counseling on it? I mean, they're together as one. So you came together, you got married as one. And I'm like, wow, that's intense.
Hmm.
Okay, good. So you know what? You love the man? Okay, you love your man? It's like, hun, you know what? I gotta sterilize. I gotta do something about this. And him being the loving man should understand. If he's got some like isms and issues and difficulties with that problem, then they need to pray about it, talk to God about it, and seek some serious counseling.
Mm.
Hmm.
Wow.
Hmm.
yeah.
Anything else? Does
Another
that make
question I'd love.
sense?
Another thing I'd like to throw in.
No?
Yes, it
Okay.
does. Yes, it does.
It does
That's
make
another
sense.
40.
Yes, it
You know what?
makes
That's
sense.
another. It depends on what your convictions are. Because I'm in Christian. I have been a Christian for like, not one of those like, oh, I prayed a little prayer in my heart and I'm saved. Woohoo! No, let's go for light. Yeah, yeah, let's go for a couple of years. And no, like I'm a real Christian. I repented. I got baptized for the forgiveness of my sins. Jesus is Lord of my life. God's the one who invented this thing called sex. I was like, you want to get into this? Like, all right, this sounds good. Let's do this. You know what I mean? Let's do what is right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the thing. Is like, what is the right thing to do? And not matter. Oh, I feel that we should do this, and I think we should do that. Well, what is the right thing to do? Never mind your feelings.
Hmm.
All right, plain and simple, man. Keep it simple.
Mm.
Keep it simple. Like as people, we love to complicate the simplicities of life. Why do you think Dr. Phil's got such a real huge show? And then at the end of it, at the end of it all, he's always like, "What were you thinking? Now, do you understand the repercussions, the consequences y'all have incurred upon yourselves and one another?" I'm like, now what do y'all have to say for yourself? I'm like, and you're like, come on, man. You got to think about it. It's like, you don't want to, please forgive me, you don't want to look like some dumbass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're a mature adult. You know what to do. Do what is right. Plain, simple, and done. Enough said. Don't complicate the situation. Does that make
Well,
sense?
That makes
so
perfect
so
sense.
let me
Absolutely.
let me ask you something.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you um
Zion.
the data. What's the data is like? It says
What
one
is
in
the
20
data?
women age 20 to 29,
Okay.
4.2%, and one in five women age 39. I mean 30 to 39,
Okay.
21%. So why
Are
would you
Please
say
forgive
doing
me.
these
sterilization.
numbers?
If
Did
you
I have
can
any sort
forgive
of
me,
data?
Sorry.
help me out from the beginning, right? Because I'm like kind of
Yeah.
like 29. Okay. I
So
was that age
I think
once.
Let me,
I think what he's saying is
let me
what
rephrase.
why
Let me
do you
rephrase.
think the data
Yeah.
is the way it is right now? Go ahead, Keith.
So as far
I'm
as
listening. I'm
sterilization,
listening.
yeah, as far as sterilization, looking at 1 in 20 women aged 20 to 29.
Wow, that's intense.
I know,
Yes.
right?
Why? Why do they do these things? So they can just go out and have sex, no problem?
Well, I
Oh,
think
that's
that,
cheesy, man. You
I
gotta
think
go.
so.
That's cheesiness. You gotta go make sure you bathe yourself, man. Make sure you're clean before you go in. You go get married, man. Good gravy. It's so much easier, I think. And that's another 45-minute Dr. Phil episode. But I'm
let me ask a
thinking right
question.
Oh,
now,
yes.
Let me ask a question, Zion. Where are you calling from? You're from just curious.
I'm from Toronto, Toronto, Ontario.
I hear you. Toronto in the house tonight.
Now, where are you guys
Live,
from?
live and direct. Well, I'm in New York.
In New
I'm in the
York.
Big
Oh,
Apple.
sweet, man. In the Big
Yeah,
Apple. Mm. Oh, gotta
yeah.
like the apples.
Oh, hey, shit. I think I might have you on for another 45 minutes here because the spark here is really exciting. I'm telling you.
Oh, one of those don't get me started moments.
I can see that.
Mm.
I can see that already. I can see it already. So, folks,
All
you're
right.
listening to Christian and Sex, y'all. This is where we have a voice. We talk. We share. We have dialogue about
Mhm.
these different issues that affect men, women, family, boys, and girls. And guys,
Mhm.
remember now, you can get an app.
Oh,
Um,
can you hold on for one moment, please?
yes.
Actually, one moment, please. Thank you. Hello, is someone there?
So,
One moment. Thank you for your patience.
That's
yeah,
okay.
no problem. So,
I feel
we
like
want
it's a
to.
commercial break.
But
It's
Yes,
Zion
like
does
this
have a
pro.
point, because it says family planning.
yes,
So
it
it
is.
All
really should
right.
include the family.
That's
It
What are they
right.
shouldn't just
planning?
be one person making a decision for
Mm.
multiple reasons, though. Because what if someone, because again, sterilization is a surgery. What if someone gets sick?
Right.
What if you die?
What
Like,
if?
yes.
Oh gosh, you got to
What
count
a
the
lot of
cost before you do that.
yeah.
Before
And,
you
and
do
and
something like that to your body, count the cost.
yeah, absolutely. And what makes a woman feel that I can't speak to my partner, I have to go do this my way on my own? And
Oh,
I don't
that's
understand.
cheesy.
I know, right? And why is it young people 20 to 29? Like, what decisions are you making? Like, that's a permanent
Because
decision to be making. Why is
exactly
it so
when they reach my age, I can tell you something right now. Okay, this is where my Jamaican roots come in, and I start to like Mecca telling me something just now. How
Mhm.
dare like I'm trying to figure out why would you want to go and do that to your body? Is there a reason? Is there health concern involved here? Or is it a thing of selfishness? I don't want to get pregnant. I don't want to have to push in a human being and have to go take care of this child for the rest of its life or a good portion of it. It's like you need to count the cost. You just may very well regret. I mean, you can always adopt, you can always foster. However, count the cost with your significant other, your husband.
Mm.
It makes
But
Mhm.
sense.
we're living in a very me generation, and it's
That is
really
the
about
problem.
it's really about the next thrill, and nothing will slow me down. I want to get there fast, and it is sad, and,
Boy.
and and what's really interesting about it too, the church, a lot of the mindset in the church is taking on some of these ideas,
Oh
and
gosh.
running with it. I mean, and it's really why we bring up these topics because you know people sometimes respond and say, hey, you know what? Maybe I should reconsider what I'm thinking here. Maybe I should
Yeah,
look deeper at this whole
but
concept of civilization. Because
the
it's a very serious
maturity
thing.
level is not there.
Yeah.
Like, what are they thinking?
Hmm.
Like, I'm 51. I've been married for 12 years,
Yes.
and unfortunately, I cannot have children.
You
Have we
cannot.
thought about? Pardon me?
You said you cannot. That's it.
No, I cannot have children. I had to, unfortunately, had to have my uterus removed,
Got
and
you.
that's too bad. But you know what? There's room for the children. I mean, I love kids. They're fun, man. So am
Yeah.
I. So I mean, be mature is like, what would you do? Think
Mm.
about it. There's a
Wow.
lot of young kids making adult-like decisions,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and you're like, son of a what? I was like, and how old are your child? I was like, I'm like, son of a, don't do that. Don't do that to your body.
Mm.
I mean, unless you're a happily married person and you and your husband can speak to each other, talk to your husband about how you're feeling. Maybe he wants to have 10 kids and you never talked about that before y'all got married. I mean, 10
Sure.
kids. I mean, that's just like, okay, that's another religion. You know what I'm saying? I'm like,
Hey,
oh, wow.
that's a whole village here.
That's
Yeah.
That's
that's just
another story in the book here.
that's another 45-minute Dr. Phil episode. He'd like be like, so what were you thinking? I'm sorry, my bad.
Well, listen,
Well, I love
well,
children,
listen,
Dr. Phil. And then he's like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
well, listen.
So, can I ask you guys, where are you guys from? Who's on the
Uh,
phone right now? A gentleman
well,
from New York. I'm from Toronto, Ontario. And the rest?
I'm from Jamaica.
I'm
From
from
Dominica.
Jamaica as well.
Jamaica?
yeah.
For
Yes.
real?
Absolutely.
Oh, which part? What part? Which part
I'm
of
from
Jamaica you from?
Manchester, but I live in St. Catherine.
Manchester. My mommy was born in St. Elizabeth.
Oh,
Oh,
cool. I have
Okay.
family there.
Okay.
And let me see.
I'm in Trelawney right now. I'm in Trelawney right
Trelawney,
now.
boy.
Yes.
Let's speak Canadian American right now because people will say Trelawney. What? What kind of meal is a
hey.
Trelawney? Can I get a good side order of Trelawney? I was like,
You
a
know,
what?
like in New York, let's keep it on. Let's keep it 100. Let's keep it a buck. You know, let's
You
keep
know
it.
what I'm saying? Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
and that's another 45-minute discussion.
yes, it is. Yes, it is. So listen to me. You
Oh
have
gosh.
been, listen to me. You have been a most exhilarating, exciting. What can I say?
Jesus
Uh,
is Lord, man. That's what
addition
it
to
is.
this
Absolutely.
broadcast here, and this me. We're about to wrap up soon. How it went by so fast, Raquel. Lady Misty, I can't believe it how fast it went by.
Sorry.
That's it.
But we
Yes.
just about yeah. And listen, we're looking forward to have you back with us. And I
Yes,
said again,
absolutely.
we do have our app, which has everything inside of it. A lot of good stuff. If you go to your app
Yep.
UME
store
Radio.
or your Play Store, you type in
Okay.
UME. Is the letter U,
Oh, hold on. I do
M
have a pen
E.
and paper in front of me. Hold
Yeah,
on for a
put
second.
it.
I want to write this stuff down. Because
Yeah,
Christians and sex, I mean, yeah, we can talk. Because I got a
you.
little issue. I got
So
some isms
you'll be
and
back every week.
issues.
You'll be back every week, and we're gonna have a whole lot of fun here.
You
So,
Every Monday
promise?
at 9 a.m.
oh my
9
goodness,
p.m.
do we? I tell
Yes,
you, New
every
York. Listen,
Monday.
the tripod here, the tripod. Well, it's gonna be great. But
Oh, wow. This
but
okay. What is? How do I
the
get
letter
in?
U,
What's?
the letter
I'm
U,
sorry.
UME
the
Radio.
letter U, M
UMU
no U, the letter
M
U, M E,
U
M is
M
Mary,
E.
radio,
Some. Okay.
and it's one word.
Moomy Radio.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly. So UME radio. And in the Play
Okay.
Store, you can get it, or your App Store, you can get it. We have on there. We have things that do it. We have affiliate programs in there. We have stuff that do with
So at Play Store.
And
yes.
it's a radio station. Yes.
And could you give us a tip on what we have in there, Sister Raquel? Just some ideas on what they can look forward in the app.
We have a newspaper that's published, Power in Diaspora, New York.
Okay.
So we have
Oh wow.
newspaper. We also have our YouTube channel that where we feature like documentaries and stuff. The radio station is Caribbean New York, Caribbean Influence New York station, WMEDB New York.
Okay.
We have a dating
Oh.
feature on there. We have different features that you can explore on there.
Oh
And if you're
wow.
traveling, guys, if you're traveling, we can also
Right.
give you some treats. Yes.
Okay. So Keith, is that you? And Misty, is that you? I'm seeing on my phone right here. Misty
I'm
and
not sure what you're
Keith.
saying.
Oh
Right.
no, I'm seeing I'm
If
seeing faces
it's a
here.
handsome dude, it's me. If it's a handsome dude,
That's it.
it's me.
Okay. That's you? Oh. Okay, I was gonna send some money that you have to adopt. Is this Keith?
Uh, I guess I'm not sure what you're saying, but
No, no, is
that
this Keith?
yes, it is Keith.
Oh, Keith. All right. And Misty, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
All right. And Zan, me, I didn't put my picture up there yet, but I'm not white. I'm Canadian. But
All right.
I'm Canadian. It's called good seasoning. Like I said, my mother was born Jamaican, so was my dad.
Oh,
Okay.
So, so I'm
okay.
the first generation Canadian here in Canada.
There you go. I'm trying to big up, big up, big up.
Represent.
Love it, love it.
represent,
Yeah.
So I'm very, very grateful. But to speak with you guys on a Monday night, I mean, like what?
For some reason, I see you having your own show. I think I can see you having your own show. You really,
It's funny that you
I
say
just get
that.
that feeling. Yeah.
It's like, you know what? Because I do want a podcast. I want to do a podcast, and I've already got a number of different guests who will be featured on it.
Yeah, you
My
do.
program is called, the title of I've called it is Inspiring Canadian Vibes,
Yes. Well, listen. Hey,
and this is fantastic.
we can partner because we know over 44 countries and
Oh,
counting.
you know what I'm saying? Woo,
Yes,
man
so we'll make it
alive!
happen.
Oh, make it happen.
I just
Oh,
shared our email address and the links to the apps to the app.
Work with it. So you know what? I've got this mic here. I got to figure. I think I have to get another mic. But you know what?
mhm.
We'll talk about tech stuff later on. All right.
Yes, we will.
All right, because I know you guys got to go to work in the morning.
Yes. So as we're about to wrap
All
up,
right.
yeah,
All right. I want you.
Evelyn,
God bless you guys.
you've been a great caller. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. It was a pleasure speaking with you guys.
Likewise. Be blessed.
All right, good
All right.
night.
Take care. Take charge, and God bless you all. Okay.
All
Bye
right,
bye.
you too.
Okay, okay,
All right. All
audience.
right. All right. Good night, guys.
Bye bye.
Oh, they're so precious.
So, Misty, you want to take us out real quick and to the audience what they would like to hear?
I didn't hear you, Keith. Go again.
I said, if you can take out the audience, just take us out. Let the audience know how we feel and just pretty much how we are looking forward to the next show.
Oh, yes. Well, I want to thank all our listeners tonight, those who tuned in. You didn't speak up, but you listened. I want to say thank you so much, Zion, for calling in. You sure added some spice to
I'm sorry. She
our.
was calling back. I was trying to take the call. You can call back, Zion. Call again.
Okay. Well, I was just thanking her for calling in
Okay, go
tonight.
ahead.
She definitely added some insight to our program tonight. I want to say to uh, any person out there, male or female, considering to, do a sterilization or a vasectomy or something, talk about it first. Uh, develop the art of conversation, and you may be surprised that you may change your mind. For the young people considering it as well, I also advise you to talk to somebody about it, because youth is a very funny thing,
And
and
pray about it.
in yeah, and pray about it in all the, you may, the excitement and not wanting to have a responsibility may cloud your judgment. So speak to somebody with a little years on them, with a little experience, and you know never leave God out of your decisions. Whatever decisions you're going to make,
Yeah,
don't leave God out of it.
awesome.
So
Thank you.
that's my few words in Jesus' name.
Yeah, thank you, Lady. And I'm gonna give the last word to our coach. He been such a
Thank you
great
for everyone who
Oh,
joined us tonight.
yes.
Thank you guys for having me on tonight. It
yes,
was
it
fun.
was fun. Fun. Great.
Yes, it was a pleasure having you tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for what you're doing too. Keep doing it because it's very informative, Sex is a
Well, thank
topic that is so tabooed. I don't know why in the Christian community. But it's good to
I
talk
know.
about these things. It's important. So
yes,
thank you so much.
yes. And
You're
again, audience,
welcome.
remember, as we always say, stay connected and stay
You
blessed.
Me Radio.
And
WMEDB New
UME
York.
Radio at WMEDB New York. This your boy Keith, entrepreneur.